Welcome back to another episode here on the Heart and Hustle podcast. We have Mr. James. How you doing today, Mr. James?
I'm great. I'm great, Efren. How are
James
you?
Aitken? Is that correct?
Yeah, you're saying it
Hey, I
right.
got it right. I got it right. Where are we visiting you today virtually?
So I'm in Northwest New Jersey, working from home today, but originally from Massachusetts area.
Yeah? I don't know. We talked about this. We're a mess.
Yeah, so I grew up in Cambridge for a lot of my life, also at Newton, but I was actually born on the campus of a boarding school in North Andover, Mass, called the Brooks School, where my father was a headmaster. But yeah, we moved to Cambridge about halfway through my childhood, and yeah, just an hour outside, or not 10 minutes outside of Harvard Square, I could walk in, which was great. So
And then you made your time from Mass to Jersey. Been in Jersey since, or?
yeah, so once I started my career, I married a Jersey girl after college. I met her in college, and so worked for a bit in New York, but ultimately ended up moving down to New Jersey about 16, 17 years ago. And that's kind of where we started our family. So I've been here ever since.
Wow, man. Yeah, I was born in Lawrence, Mass. Didn't
Yeah.
spend too much time. I moved out of there when I was 7 years old. And now I'm in Orlando, so haven't left. Not that I love it here. So I do want to go elsewhere, but my wife's here now and born and raised here. So James,
We
are you staying in
follow.
Jersey because a
Yeah.
Jersey girl is staying, or would you like to also go elsewhere?
I never thought I would live in New Jersey. So, but I've come to really love it. And I mean, I basically came here because of my wife, but it's been a really pleasant surprise. I think a lot of people have, these preconceived notions of New Jersey. So, and it's definitely got a lot more than I think people know. So yeah, I'm happy, at least for now. While my kids are in school, they're in a great system. So, we're happy.
That's it. Got to stay still for a little bit. And you're leading you're not leading Seeds, but what is your title with Seeds?
Yeah, so my title is vice president. Admissions and placement is really the teams that I oversee. Um, and yeah, I kind of got into this role after 20 years working in independent schools. So I went to college. I got a master's in political science and teaching, and I had an undergrad in political science. And I knew I really wanted to work with kids pretty early, and so being the product of independent schools and seeing the value that those schools brought me, I knew I kind of wanted to be in those spaces moving forward. So, put 5 years in at a school called Trinity Pauling in upstate New York, where I was teaching, I was doing some admissions work, I was coaching. They really have you doing everything, and then so that was closer to New Jersey, moving down here, and then 15 years at the Dwight Englewood School. Uh, which kind of moved us down here to New Jersey. And I was a dean. I did admissions work. I coached. I taught. But I got to do a lot of things there, and it was really, really, really great for those times. But yeah, I'm in my first year now, kind of in this new role at Seeds.
So tell us what Seeds offers. People think about Seeds, what some of the things that they are looking to receive from this organization.
Yeah, so Seeds is a nonprofit, and we offer programming for high achieving students from underserved communities. Um, and we're really looking to kind of reach those kids that are, maybe not quite getting everything they want out of their schooling experience, and really wanting to kind of go to that next level, especially in college, or students that might be interested in independent schools. So these are students that are underserved. They have to be from specific districts. And that we've kind of identified in the state based on socioeconomic factors, are really kind of driven by the free and reduced lunch percentages.
Yep, yep.
Um, and we do a whole admissions process with them. And then ultimately, when they come into our program, we have three different programs we run. We really give them the tools. We really spend a lot of time with them on Saturdays during the summers. We're really trying to kind of open those doors and kind of prepare them for that next step in their educational journey, whether it be, independent private schools or competitive selective colleges as well.
Love it. And how many people are you guys seeing like on a first you gotta tell us the dog because we heard the dog. So what kind of dog is it?
She's a barker. I'm really sorry. I was hoping she
No,
wouldn't
you're
bark.
good. Listen, that's life
She
when we work at home.
she's a mutt. She's part German Shepherd, part probably Australian Shepherd. She's very protective.
Oh my god,
If
big
she
dog, that
really
means.
starts to bark, I might put her outside. But yeah,
All
she's a big
good.
dog. She's great. But yeah, sorry. Did you ask another
No,
question?
we're
I'm
talking
sorry.
about the dogs. Yeah, you
Okay.
were talking about the dogs. My neighbor has 2 huge German Shepherds, and I tell you the first time that I walked into his yard and those German Shepherds came running at me, I was scared for my life. But these
Yeah.
2 dogs, man, are the sweetest dogs.
Yeah, she's the same. I mean, she can be terrifying if you don't know her, but she's, all heart and very loving, really, really protective, takes her role seriously. So,
That's that's a good thing. That's a good thing. James, so how many people are you guys seeing on a school base?
yeah. So so we have 3 programs. When we're kind of up and running, we have 25 kids that once we've kind of accepted them all into our
Mhm.
program, we have 25 kids at the Young Scholars program, and that's 4th or 5th graders. And they kind of actually start off with us in the summer, so we have a whole new crew starting off right now, and then they do Saturday programming with us throughout the school year, including some other events, and then ultimately we're prepping them for admissions into private middle high school. Sometimes it's a K to 8 school. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's like a K to 12 school. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a 6 to 12 school, but or 5 to 12, they're entering in that kind of 5th, 6th grade. We also have 100 um, 90 to 100 kids we generally serve in our scholars program, which is 7th graders. They start and then they're 8th graders for that big year. And we're prepping them for that application and enrollment into a private high school, independent high school, boarding school a lot of the time. And then we also have 100 that we're serving in our college scholars program. These are come to us in 11th grade, and they spend a lot of their time with us in 12th grade, applying to colleges. With the college scholars, we can sometimes have 200 because we start them off kind of in the winter of their junior year.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, we still have some seniors finishing up their program. So we have
Yeah.
both those hundreds going at once. So technically, we could have 325 kind of going at one time.
Not bad, not bad. And is that because you guys are just capped there, or what is the cap?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of it is capacity, fundraising, space. We have to be really strategic and thoughtful about where we do our programming. So with our college scholars program, we really are looking to scale up and grow for lots of reasons. But we recently grew from 50 students to 100 students.
That's good.
It's great, and we're really trying to serve more of the state. Ultimately, we're really actually trying to get out of the state into Pennsylvania will probably be the first additional state we move into. But right now, we really have kind of opened up southern New Jersey a lot more. We were a little more focused in the central Jersey and a little bit in the north. But so we have a campus at TCNJ where we do programming with our kids for half of those college scholars. And then we also right now are partnered with Drew University in Madison, where we kind of work with those other kids. So um, space is really the big thing. We have to hire staff, as we're looking to grow that college scholars program to 150, eventually 200 and so on. But securing those new spaces, making sure we can hire staff, making sure there's nothing sacrificed in that program, and it's,
Yeah.
kind of all those kids are getting that same experience, so we really wanna be thoughtful about that, um, and we want the value and the one-on-ones, we never wanna kinda lose the value of that and kind of the relationships, so it's something we're really, really conscious about as we grow. We've seen also our growth is mainly focused with college scholars. Just in terms of capacity, there are more spots at a lot of universities that we could open up for our kids. But on the independent school, boarding school side, just the nature of the competition, the number of schools, um, we are kind of bumping up against kind of that top number where we want to be anyway. We would do our kids a disservice if we tried to grow too much at that age level. But certainly at the college age level, we have room to
Yeah.
grow a lot further.
And I know you said spending time with them on even Saturdays. What does the time look like when being spent with some of these students?
Yeah, so I just came back from Bucknell University where our juniors are doing their college experience, which is one of the experiences they have. And this is their second experience. They started with us in the winter. They did Saturday classes. They did test prep. They started to do some work on essays. They spend full Saturdays from 8:30 to 3 really. They're on campus. So it's a full day. And they're doing all sorts of kind of work. Some of it is supplemental academic work, and then some of it is kind of this placement process work like test prep, essay writing, application support, financial aid support. This summer experience is really unique too because we we do have a kind of a college 201 class we call it, which is exposure to college life and also some of these application components that they have to tackle. But then we really dive a little bit deeper into college level academic work with them and
Mhm.
college level experiences and living on the campus in the dorm room. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a really immersive 3 week program, and then they come back to us. Same with our scholars. These are the seventh, eighth graders. They do a 3 week program at a boarding school, and then they come back to us in the fall and they continue those Saturday classes. There are also other kind of one off events, but they're really with us every Saturday throughout their eighth grade year, throughout their 12th grade year as seniors.
How does somebody find out about you guys?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we really try to be um, as kind of broad reaching as we can in how we expose people to seeds. But I will say the number one most impactful way that we open people's minds up to what is seeds and what could it do for me is through presentations in schools. So we have to really build and cultivate and maintain those school relationships with the
Yeah.
counselors, especially, um, and kind of make sure that we have a system where they can schedule presentations, but really kind of help them kind of see that these students' wins are our wins too. It's kind of a joint shared experience, and so that's really our biggest. But certainly we do info sessions. We're trying to partner more with other community-based organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, libraries, things like that. We do sessions in there. Sometimes we certainly have a website, seedsaccess.org. So I encourage you to go there. But also social media. We offer info sessions. We've done mailers. So it runs the gamut. How we kind of try to
Yeah.
get our word out there. We really leverage also our really strong alumni unit and alumni families to kind of help us in their communities, kind of spreading that word. So it's kind of this ongoing cycle. So yeah, any way we can. Podcasts like this is a great way too for some
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So yeah.
There's communication levels. I love it. And when it comes to funding, is this just philanthropic work? Is this government funds? Like, how can people actually get involved from maybe a donation standpoint?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, um, the simplest way is really just to go to our website, but seedsaccess.org, and kind of there's you can navigate there towards donating. We really rely on donations, right? So there are certain organizations that are funded at least partially by the government, and to be honest, at this point with the climate we're in, I'm glad we are not one of those.
Hmm.
So we are a little bit more in control, but that said, it is a really challenging environment,
Yeah.
and fundraising is one of our biggest challenges right now, our biggest concerns. We also there's other organizations out there that are funded by a foundation or a trust or one generous donor, and so some of these organizations don't even have development departments, and that's a nice luxury. But we're kind of in the middle there, so we have to kind of raise that money to operate every year, and we have a really fantastic development team. We have a really active board and alumni network, as I said. We run various events over the years, like our gala we just had, where we raised $1 million, which is incredible.
Let's
We also
go.
have
That's good.
yeah, we also have a golf outing in the summer and various smaller events. So it's kind of an active, ongoing, all throughout the year. Um, and it is a real challenge right now. So they're doing
Love it. How big was this gala? Like, how many people do you guys see at the gala?
Oh god, now you're testing me. I hope it's, several hundred, I wanna say. I mean, it felt bigger than my wedding. It's probably in the 2 to 300 people came to the gala. We had a
Yeah.
bunch of alums. Um, it was really, really special. Silent auction, live auction, all sorts of kind of, testimonials and stories. We honored a distinguished, member of our family. But yeah, it was a really, really great event, and it's our single biggest event every year,
Mhm.
from the fundraising standpoint. But yeah,
The
as I
reason I
said,
asked James is
yeah,
because I'm in this nervous, I lead an organization of my own, and for the last 5 years, this organization was not raising any money. So now me taking over as a leader, we have to
yeah,
start making money,
yeah,
right? So I'm taking some of these events that were existing that were just, kind of breaking even, but it's how do we revamp them? And we're doing like a legacy night where we're honoring it's called like a Hall of Fame event that they were
yeah,
having, but it's almost putting together also that gala type, part to it. And my goal is to raise 50,000. And I'm like,
yeah.
man, am I kidding myself here? Like, is it possible? And you just
No,
start doubting yourself. And you tell me a million. I'm like, and we were trying to get 250 to 300 in the room. So I'm like, wait, maybe I should up my what we're asking for that night. Cause if
yeah, I mean, so first of all, is that alumni? Is that for your alma mater? Is that group you're talking
yeah,
about?
yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. No, so if you get to 200 plus, 300 plus, yeah, I mean, I don't think 50 plus is a inaccurate goal. I think you absolutely could be there. Seeds has been around. This is our 35th year, and so
Wow.
we one of the things that's great is we have a pretty established group of benefactors and people that are committed to this work and connecting us with other people. So that's a big advantage in terms of an event like this. We kind of go into it expecting to do. That's our goal. That's kind of, we look at the past, that's kind of what we're expecting. I think when they had their first gala, I don't know what that number was, but I'm sure it wasn't anywhere near that. So it's kind of
Yeah.
building that up. I went to a gala though at the same place shortly after mine, and smaller organization. It was a nonprofit housing organization. I think about 10 people in the office, 7 people maybe even. And they had about 200 people there, and they raised and this is maybe their third gala ever. They raised I think just short of 50,000. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, this organization definitely has a lot of history, and I think it's possible. I think it's just everything you just mentioned is a relationship building, is
yeah.
getting the word out there, is communicating, is the data, giving that data. James, it looks like you guys are really good at just curating data and making sure people understand what the data looks like for those that are giving. How important is data in an organization like yours, James?
Oh my God, it's huge. And it's really actually a big part of the work I do. I'm doing a lot of data analysis. We're kind of, trying to tap into what are the numbers we really should be sharing with people? How can we tell our story and kind of clarify our impacts? So yeah, I mean, we're looking at, I'm deep in spreadsheet world all day long some days. And, recently, for example, I'm looking at, what is the average out-of-pocket cost that our college scholars are paying in their first year? How does that compare to previous years? What are the trends we're seeing? Things like that. I think some national data. I love comparing seeds to kind of national data as well to just kind of clarify that impact. So seeds, a lot of our kids are first gen on the college side. Um, Also on the independent school side, but not
Yeah.
necessarily all of our kids. Um, but it is a big chunk of our community, and I think so. One number that is really fascinating is, and I've seen this in a few different organizations that have cited this, including Pew, I think. But I think about 29% of first gen students go to college, whereas 70 to 75% of students who have a parent who went to college go to college. And then once they're there, in 6 years, these are national numbers, right? In 6 years, um, 26% of first gen students are graduating within 6 years. That's When I heard that number the first time, I was shocked. And
Yeah.
the number for students that aren't first gen that have parents that went to college is just short of 60%. Both those numbers actually struck me as low, but seeds, and there are other organizations doing this great work. we're in the upper 80s to 90% of our, scholars that graduate and go on to college are graduating in 6 years. So that 90, that upper 80s compared to the 26 is really just a real simple way to kind of look at our impact.
Mhm. Yeah. Man, good work. And now I think you mentioned a little earlier, you've only been doing this for a year.
Yeah.
You're getting your feet wet. What are some of the things that you want to bring to this organization, from a leadership perspective, that you want to see come to life? Let's kind of speak into existence, James.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm really interested in kind of managing this current environment. So we're both kind of like on one side, we're really looking to grow, and I talked to you a little bit about that at the scholar side. So to the extent that I can kind of build our program up to a point where we're comfortable doing that in terms of the admissions numbers we're taking in, I oversee that whole team, and then I'm overseeing the placement team. So once we feel like we're in a good place to kind of take that next step with growth, I want to really kind of drive that vision. But also, I think we really got to be cognizant of the environment we're in, and be very strategic about how we're managing that in terms of the impact we're seeing. For example, we're really closely tracking colleges in financial struggle right now, and there are a lot of them. We want to be really careful about the schools we're sending our kids to. We're really tracking the changes in financial aid packages that we're starting to see our students get, and being strategic about how to counteract that. Um, so, so yeah, all those things. I think kind of growing our program to another state, I think long term would be a huge step for the organization. Um, and really kind of being thoughtful about doing that in a way where we do not sacrifice the quality of our programming with our kids. Um, yeah, so I mean, those are some of the big things that I'm really thinking about in the next few years. I want Seeds to be kind of a nationally known program, and I think in the Northeast we really are. We're one of the most respected. But I think, with what we're offering, we are one of, if not the best, and I kind of want people in the whole country to kind of be aware of that. We I have expanded. I've really done a lot to try to expand the schools we're working with on the West Coast, for example, just to kind of diversify um, the number of options our kids have. So we've
Yeah.
we've kind of built out California, Colorado, Oregon a little bit more, both on the college side and on the independent boarding school side. So yeah, those are some of the things that are kind of front of mind right now.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good, man. You can tell that you're just excited about it. And I think I said this to you last time. You are truly in a space that is not about the paycheck, it's about the passion and the purpose. And you're kind of in two of the zones that I always say, the higher ed and the nonprofit. Very,
Yeah,
very tough to be in. Why,
yeah.
James, when you don't have to be?
That's such a great question. I mean, and it's like I think about, why did I make the move jumping from schools? There's a lot of people kind of in this space that, you know, jump from kind of being on the admissions side in a school to being, a leader in a nonprofit like Seeds, and then back. I mean, I know some people who have kind of made that jump 3 or 4 times. For me, like, the why, I was in my 15th year at Dwight England, and I loved it. I started working with kids from Seeds and kids from other programs like Seeds, and I started seeing what amazing kids these were.
Wow.
And to be honest, like, they were generally, outperforming and having an oversized impact on our community than some of our kids that were paying, full sticker price. Um, so I started doing a lot more work with those kids. I started in my last 10 years, especially really educating myself on, financial aid, admissions, DEI, started to kind of lead some things in DEI, recognize my own weaknesses. Um, and just became so passionate, interested in that I got to a point where, working at a school was great, but it wasn't really filling my cup, to the same degree that it had. I knew kids was where I was going to work my whole life, impacting and helping and supporting kids. But I reached a point where I was like, I want to have a larger impact for this type of kid, and to kind of open up some more doors. And so that's kind of what drew me to seeds. And I will say, being here, um, it is very fulfilling. And so, I mean, I think that that speaks to what makes me sound excited when I talk about it. That speaks to kind of my drive to spend, hours and hours deep in a spreadsheet. But I really have to balance that work with kind of meaningful relationship work, connecting with kids. And it's not the money. You're absolutely right. I mean, I've kind of signed off on that from the moment I started working on schools. Is that my career was not going to be one that made me a ton of money, but I think the fulfillment is so big for me right now, and I think it's
Yeah.
probably even bigger because I'm in my first year here. But um, if I go a week or 2 where I'm just in office, working on spreadsheets, meeting with the people on our team, and we have great people on our team, I do start to get antsy though, and I need that kind of relationship kid moment, so that's usually when I'll schedule a trip and I'll go see some kids at a school, and we have kids at all different schools, or I'll go see our
Yeah.
kids at the Saturday programs, to just kind of remind me because you don't want to be too removed from that. But yeah, it has been really meaningful, fulfilling work, and I'm really happy. So
S Yeah, man, those students become the why reminders. Looks
yeah,
like, you
yeah,
recently just said that you just came back from, what was it you just said you came back?
yeah. So Bucknell University, and I got to
There you go.
see these 100 college. Well, they're about to be seniors, kind of doing their second prong of our program, and seeing them and their energy and their excitement. Yeah, it gave me that why again, and it's so powerful. So
So cool, man, and I appreciate you sharing that story. Of those that, a lot of people don't realize, as you mentioned, that people go from higher ed to nonprofits back and forth,
yeah,
because they're very, very similar. To be quite frank, it goes back to it's about people, it's about humanity as well. Something important about that is that we were able to experience something in our lives, and how can we continue to just pass those moments along, those experiences, so people could just take that same road and it become a little easier than what we probably experience. And the
yeah,
experience in general, man, could be so scary. You talked about the first gen. How scary is it if you're a first gen student doing
yeah.
this on your own and maybe your parents don't have any idea? But something like Seeds where they're really helping you through it is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it is, you see that apprehension that some of them have, and I think they're in such a different place when their confidence level is, through the roof. We find, in the spring of their senior year. So, I mean, we really see that impact. They start to really understand that they belong in these spaces and that they can do this too. But I think, to the fulfillment thing, just real quick, the great thing about both working in schools and doing now what I'm doing at Seeds, and I encourage this for anyone, is if your work is removed from tangible, you know, you can get a tangible sense of the impact of your work.
No?
If you don't have that, and I think 90% of the time that involves people, then that fulfillment is just going to slowly drain, I think is what I found. So being able to just have that right in front of me, that kid, that alum who comes back and speaks at our gala, their trajectory has completely changed because of Seeds. Like, having that tangible impact has been really huge.
I love this, James. James, thank you so much for this conversation, man, that we've been having. Um, where can people, like, if someone wants to get involved? I mean, we talked about donating on the website. How else can people get involved with Seeds?
Yeah, we have lots of ways to kind of, I think one of the things I would suggest is, you can come visit us. We're located in Newark, New Jersey. We'd be happy to show people around our office and kind of expose them to some volunteer opportunities. We need the support of people at various events. And, I think sometimes even if you want to come to an event and just kind of see what we're about, we have a lot of our events are listed in social media. They're listed on our website. One thing that really comes to mind is we interview students, for our programs. We do a whole application process. They write essays, they have to get references, transcripts, and one of the stages is an interview for all three of our programs. And that is a big, big lift because we have way more kids applying than we can
Yeah.
accept. And so we need lots of help with interviewers. We actually pair volunteers up with a seed staff member for our interviews. Um, and that's a great way to just, like, see the kids too, though. So it's a
Yeah.
really we anyone who really wants to be involved with that, we're happy to have you. And so you're not kind of alone doing the interviewing, you're with someone who's, really there. But, that's one real tangible way. But yeah, again, our website is seedsaccess.org. Should I share my email? Would that be good too?
Yeah,
Because
man, share
so
it,
I
James.
would say just because if you're listening to this podcast and you've heard me, and I think an easy way to get in contact would be just to email me, and then I can kind of point you in the right direction from there. So my email is J as in James, and then my last name Aitken, which is Aitken at seedsaccess.org. So just send me an email and I will point you in the right direction. But yeah, we're always looking for volunteers. Um, I got to give a shout out to my director of admission too, because one of the things we say is no money, no mission. Really, our mission is really broad and it's really powerful, but we are very dependent on the money we raise every year. So I don't want to kind of shortchange that as a really meaningful way you can get involved.
Love it. Well, James, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the work that you've done now 2 decades, right? Just continuing to fertilize the future at this point, almost 2 decades. Is it almost 2 decades or am I right? 2 decades.
Yeah, no, it's 2 decades, 21 years now, which is crazy.
I want to aid you more, and give you more years because I hate when they do that to me. So, no, man, just thank you for the work that you've done, definitely in our communities, and the work that you'll continue to do, really, in the community, especially at this organization, Seeds, where you're just getting started, man. You're just getting started, guys. This is
Yeah.
the same conversation that we have with all leaders, like Mr. James. If you guys want to get involved, make sure you guys do. He gave you guys the email. You guys make sure you guys check out the website. Are you guys also on social,
Yeah,
James?
yeah, we're on, Instagram. I think we're on TikTok. We're on Facebook, even X, I think. So yeah, check us out.
Love it. So, guys, continue to subscribe, like, comment. Make sure you guys join in the next conversation. We'll see you next time. I'm Efrain. This is James. Latest.
Thank you.